Welcome back, everyone. So this video, I'm going to focus on something that can be very destructive to the structure of our teeth, and that is phytic acid. And phytic acid is something that really is considered a blocker. It can be considered a blocker. While it has some advantages health-wise, it can have some positive effects. The area I'm going to focus on are the negative ways it can impact the strength of our teeth, specifically the enamel. And this happens basically with the blockage of the nutrients. That's what phytic acid, the disadvantage of phytic acid is that it basically prevents the absorption of minerals into our bodies. And that's where you get problems with your teeth in terms of calcium being the thing that is impacted the most, and what we get a lack of when there's a large presence of phytic acid in our bodies. It's blocking our bodies from absorbing that very important nutrient, and not just calcium, but other minerals that we need. But specifically for our teeth, this is a very serious problem. And it's something that I had heard about before, but I really didn't take it seriously enough. When I really think about how much my diet consisted of grains, and that's the next part I want to get into in terms of the source of the phytic acid. So the foods that we're talking about, grains, wheat, these are the foods that really have high amounts of phytic acid. And this is why it's important for us to analyze what we eat. I know for myself, this is my diet consisted of a lot of grains, wheat, and specifically oatmeal. I was just One of my favorite cereals was the shredded wheat, and I would eat that every morning. And it explains a lot. It explains that cavity that I've talked about in several of the videos in terms of why there was it took as long as it did for that cavity to finally heal. When I think about my dietary habits, and I had actually said, and it really didn't have anything to do with me trying to eliminate phytic acid. I just said, you know what, I want to take a break from the shredded wheat. I wanted to get more into the raw foods that I mentioned in the other videos in terms of the vegetables, the fruits, and I started to do that. And what I noticed was the cavity that it healed. That was the case, but what I noticed was the remineralization process sped up since I put aside these food choices with the oatmeal and the shredded wheat, some of the whole grains that I was eating before. I may have them once in a while, but it's not uh, on the weekly basis like it was before. I really ate a lot of these foods, and I could say since I've eliminated them, which has probably been about 2 months, 2 or 3 months, I would say, I've definitely seen that tooth that I mentioned. Those was two together. When the cavity I mentioned was separation on the inner part of these two teeth. This was my cavity. And then eventually it healed. And what I found now is that the tooth is remineralized. So the tooth is actually growing where it was weak for so many years. And the cavity healed. And now that the tooth has started to remineralize, as I mentioned, when I chew food, there's no food getting down in that area. It's very strong and healthy. And I have my dental mirror to check to see the progress again. So it's very important to have the dental mirror, to check your teeth when you're making these changes. I've mentioned a lot of products in the videos, and they're all great. And the thing that I think but most importantly, you definitely have to check your dietary choices. that's where the first most significant change needs to take place. Make sure that you are eliminating some of these foods to get the results. If you're going to do it holistically, instead of just going for these fillings, you want to make sure that you eliminate these foods that can have an impact on the enamel, the strength of your teeth, these things that can compromise our teeth. You want to make sure that you are eliminating those things, at least limiting them. If you are going to eat them, it's a good idea to cut down on the amount of times that you eat these foods so that you can replace them with as I've been mentioning, I can't say it enough in terms of the raw foods and how positive and how impactful they can be in restoring the strength of your teeth, eliminating these cavities, getting the remineralization process going. There's just lots of good things that come from the replacement of these grains with the raw vegetables and fruits. That's definitely the direction you want to go in. I would recommend juicing. Those of you who haven't tried that, if you're not into eating the vegetables straight up, juicing is another great way to get all of these positive results. Thanks again for tuning into this latest video. I'll talk to you soon.